Hi there. So I wanted to make a video today on not apologizing. So I know that title probably sounds a bit, obviously there's times when we do, want to apologize to somebody and say, look, I'm sorry that I did that, or basically there's times in life when we want to take responsibility. I always harp on about that it's really important that we take responsibility in life for the things that we've done, the things that we've said, the person that we are really, and what we're creating in our reality. But there's a difference between taking ownership, taking responsibility and just moving on than apologizing, because a lot of the time apologizing is actually it actually comes from insecurity, because it's wanting people to accept you, or like wanting desperately to seek approval. A lot of the time it isn't, it's just fearing that you're not getting the approval of people. So, you have to kind of put this outlandish apology out there, because I see it with bloggers all the time. So they say something that people don't like, right? And then everyone just comes at them, and then the next thing they've got this groveling long apology video, and it doesn't make any difference. Actually, it makes things worse if you ever watch. And then more people pile in and they get even more aggressive and they bully this person even more. And the more apology videos this person puts, it's like the worse and worse it gets for them, because they're not taking ownership. They're actually just scared they're going to be cancelled, so they're seeking approval. Really, that's generally what it is. If they really wanted to apologize, they would have done it like yesterday, before feeling like they had to do it or they were going to get cancelled. And if you notice, there's people that say far worse things out there. Nothing happens to them. They just find a new audience. They find people that agree with them or what have you. The thing is, we're all freaking humans. We all say millions of shit things every day, and that's just how it's always going to be. Like, you can't judge somebody on who they were a year ago, a decade ago, or even a day ago. We're reborn every day. If you really believe you're like a woke, nice person, then you will just accept someone for who they are. You're not gonna harp on about what somebody said like 25 years ago. That isn't an awake thing to do. Like, an awake thing to do is to take somebody as you find them, to take them as a new person every day. I don't think there's anyone out there that hasn't said lots of really awful things over their lifetime. It's just that most people don't put them out there on the internet. But nowadays, we live in such a society that everything's out there on the internet. So, no one is freaking perfect. You know what they say about he was perfect, like living glass houses or whatever, or throw the first stone. No one is perfect. We all say terrible things. We all do terrible things. We all say things that, 3 years down the line, we're like, oh, cringe, And I feel even more sorry for people these days, because people are on the internet from the age of being a teenager. So you've got people that are 14 years old or what have you, that are saying things online, and someone is going to go and find this thing they've said. And then when they're a 30-year-old, they'll be like, well, look what you said when you're 14. I mean, it's ridiculous. And I think that we have to stop apologizing for who we were or things that we said. Yes, there's a certain thing of taking responsibility, and saying, oh God, I probably said some things I wished I hadn't have said a year ago. Or, gosh, remember the person that I used to be, and take responsibility just for growing all the time as a person, But we can't be held to these crazy standards by people that we don't know for just some throwaway remark, or even really bad stuff, like there's people that are criminals and they do major turnarounds in life, and they go out there and do major good in the world, and they become these kind of shining stars. You know what they say? The biggest sinner becomes the saint. You can't really know good unless you've known bad. So you need, like, this whole life, this whole 3D matrix reality is about contrast. It was created to experience contrast. It was created to experience the good and the bad, and then find out, like, who you really are, like, by exploring all these things. It's not our journey and our relationship and other people's journeys and relationships is between you or them and source or God or higher self or whatever you call it. And that is the only person that you actually really are responsible to. We all have our own connection with source, and that is the only relationship really that comes first and foremost to everything. And we all have our journeys. Some of them are easier, some of them are harder, some of them go way further down the piece before we go up, but trying to hold people to task for every little thing that they've said and done, there's nobody out there. And some of these people that try to cancel and criticize say the most awful things I've ever seen anyone write in my life, and they're there like trying to make out they're on some moral high ground over other people. No way. Like, we all have shit thoughts, we all say shit things, we all do shit things, and that's just life. And the sooner people acknowledge that, and yes, there's nothing wrong with just coming on and saying, oh, I probably don't agree with that now, I shouldn't have said that, I'm sorry, whatever, or if I'm a different person now, and take responsibility of that change and that growth, and take responsibility to become a better person. Like, we can all take steps every day to become a better person that is, more conscious of our reality. But, I think once people go down this sort of really hardcore apology route, it kind of opens them up. It's kind of like a weakness. And I see that, vultures just dive in, and I've seen it so many times. Like, we don't have to make excuses for ourselves. Yes, we can take ownership. Yes, we can say, yes, that's who I was. I don't think that anymore, and everyone should just move on, But trying to over apologize for things, it generally comes from a need for acceptance and a need for approval. And that's why you'll see some people that they can say anything they like and they don't get cancelled. And that's because they're not seeking approval. They're actually pretty confident with who they are, and they know that they can just express an opinion, and it's just an opinion. It's just an opinion. It doesn't. The more confident and strong you get in yourself, the less you care about other people's opinions too. So in a way, you can see all these comments as strengthening, because when you first get negative comments or aggressive comments online, I'm sure everyone's the same. You feel really, really shit. And you're like, oh no, you feel like being attacked, take it personally. But it's like relationships. The more times you get dumped, the less you care about being rejected. The more people come at you, the more you kind of just become resilient. And this, what Rumi says, you need to break the heart a lot of times to break it open. It's the same with online criticism in a way. If you just hide from it or try and avoid it, then you're just always going to be scared of it. But once, you sort of a bit comes and you've learned to accept it, and then a bit more comes, you can actually start to take it all with a pinch of salt, because all these people that hurl comments are definitely not perfect. They've definitely said some bad things in their time. They've definitely done some bad things in their time, because they're human. And honestly, I think when you're strong in yourself, you don't let them have that much power over you. Because the way I see people apologize online sometimes, it's like they're giving all their power away to these people, rather than just acknowledging and accepting, yeah, I had an opinion back then, it probably wasn't that great by today's standards, but that's life. Sorry if it bothered anyone, let's move on. You don't even really have to say that, because at the end of the day, they had their journey, and that's why they came and interacted with you. You had your journey. Like I said, our only journey is personal with us and source. Like, anything we come across, any interaction we have, it's for our own growth. Even if it's negative, even if it's horrible, even if we didn't want to hear it, we attracted it because our soul wanted to learn, even if that's through pain, even if it's through heartache. Our soul wanted that experience for the growth, and wanted that interaction. But yeah, I just don't think there's ever a need for these groveling apologies. and to constantly keep coming back, and to let these are the people that get cancelled. It's the people that come on and leave these like massive groveling apologies for just something that they said that people don't like. You're never going to please everyone, and we're never going to be perfect. And I think we're in this really weird time in society right now where people are just obsessed. They're just like obsessed with like saying the right things all the time or having these labels. And the thing is, times are different. I see people get criticized for saying things 10 years ago that just weren't an issue 10 years ago, or 20 years ago. Like, no one cared. It was just standard. And because they're on the internet, now people are looking at them through today's lens and today's filter. And these things just come and go, Like in 10 years' time, some of the things that you're like telling people off for, you might get told off for in 20 years, Like the sooner that this phase in society just ends and we all accept that we're all imperfect humans having experiences and growing, and that what we thought last week isn't what we think next week, and what we did in some scenario wasn't like great, the sooner that we can like move forwards as a society, in my opinion. This is not like an awake thing to kind of constantly harass and try and cancel people for something they said or did in the past. This isn't awake. But anyway, I just wanted to share my little rant of the day. And I actually have a new phone, so I'm testing out the camera. I think it's better quality than Zoom on my old laptop. So I hope everyone is good, and I'll chat soon. Bye.